Hello everyone, welcome back once again to the FRS Division 2 Season 7 Round 2 at the Jeddah Corniche circuit here in Saudi Arabia. This twisty circuit. We're back here in the desert, so very close to where we were last week. It's a long track, 6.1 kilometers, second longest on the calendar, 27 corners, bunch to the left, bunch to the right, a bunch that are just really non-corners at all. And this will be the first time the FRS has visited Jeddah. It becomes the 24th circuit that we've visited uniquely. Turn 1 is probably going to be the biggest action zone. It's a tight left then right after a long DRS zone. And we should see quite a few overtakes into that corner there. Turn 27, obviously you might want to play a bit of hooky going into this corner with the DRS, knowing that the next straight is going to be a very long affair. And also with DRS, makes it a bit tricky, and you might just want to skip out on overtaking there, like Max Verstappen did, obviously in real life. 2021 tried to let Lewis Hamilton pass by slamming on the brakes. That was not a great idea by him, and they ended up colliding. Hopefully, no one will do that today. We have 3 tires here today: the hard, medium, and soft as always. The soft's not going to last too terribly long, only 8 laps, but going to be the fastest by about 1.1 seconds compared to the hards. The medium's in the middle at 0.6 seconds a lap slower. The preferred strategy will likely be a medium to hard, as it is at most other tracks. Here is the Drivers' Championship so far. Spin, Dog, and Gali occupying the top 3 spots after finishing on the podium in the first race. Then we have Robin and Daryl, Onyx, Tommy Chronicle, Zhao, and Bananarama all rounding out the top 10 with those top 10 points finishing positions. I let it loop around back to the intro. Truly a forehead streamer. Regardless, we are waiting on the lobby to go live, get into this session here, so we can enjoy ourselves some F1 action. But anyway, I'm just trying to get my stuff to display correctly. It's not quite right. Yeah, that'll do. There we go. There we go. Now I'm comfortable. Now I'm ready to go. But I do wonder who will come out on top today. Obviously, last week we had Bahrain. It's a very wide, open circuit, proper racing track, and most of the runoff is tarmac instead of, say, gravel or grass or what have you. It's going to be tarmac where they can just collect the car up and come back. We only saw 1 DNF in the race last week, and there was only a few DNFs in qualifying as well. So we'll probably see quite a few more incidents here, because there's only one place at Bahrain where you could really crash and DNF. Here, you can crash anywhere, and you'll probably DNF. We'll probably see a bunch of clipped front wings from people just grazing the walls. Obviously, a street-style circuit. Walls are going to be very close with very little runoff. Another sort of quirk of this track is the track limits, especially in Sector 1. They're not super consistent. Sometimes it's the edge of the red and white curb, sometimes it's the inside edge, sometimes it's the outside edge. There's white lines on both sides, and it's kind of hard to gauge which one is really going to be the track limit when you're going into the corner. But anyway, 2 minutes past the hour, sitting in the lobby, we're looking at a grid of 15 drivers so far. Not sure if we'll have anyone else joining us, but we do have all the protagonists from last round coming and joining us again. I mentioned Bahrain and Jeddah here in the same rough geographical area. We're back in the desert, but next round will be at I almost said Monza. I'm thinking about the other Italian track, which is Imola. Both start with I. Very nice. And that should be quite a different experience, a more classical track. And not too much runoff, and what runoff there is all gravel or dirt. Some places like Acqua Minerale do have tarmac, but it's not too bad. the last key difference between that track and this one will, of course, be... I've lost my train of thought. I've lost my train of thought. Completely derailed. Yeah, I went over how much more likely people are to crash here. The weird track limits. We're still in the desert. Last thing about this track... Yeah, I don't remember. But anyway, we're starting to see some people ready up in the lobby, so hopefully we'll be able to get into the race here shortly. And as always, if there's any issues with the audio being too loud or me being too quiet, issues with the video, although I don't think I can do too much about the video settings, let me know in chat, and I'll do my best to rectify it. Mr. Zord says the video's choppy. I'm using the same settings as I did last week. Maybe this track just demands a bit more bitrate. But yeah, I'm using the same settings I did last week. So unless it was now not choppy. Okay, cool. Well, hopefully it'll stay that way. I did have the stream open in the other window and I paused it, so maybe pausing the stream helped me regain control. But I can still see chat, which is nice. Okay. Everybody's in. Oh, we're about to go green here. And when I say go green, I mean go green for qualifying. Just a short 15 seconds away. 16 drivers will be on the grid this time. We see all of our championship protagonists back, Spin, Dog, and Gali all in the lobby. So hopefully we'll be able to have a fun follow-up till last week. Let's go ahead and hop in game. Good water, good water. I hope me putting my water down doesn't put a lot of shock through the microphone. I'll put it on my desk mat rather than just on the desk flat. There we go. That should make noise. But it'll be very interesting to see how a race on this track turns out. I missed the Division 1 cast yesterday. And the only time I've driven this track is in 5-lappers. I've never driven this track properly in anger. It's going to be uncharted territory for me, and I will not know any of the corner numbers except for turn 1, and maybe I'll remember turn 27? Is that how many corners this track has? Is it 27? Anyway. Let's get ourselves a track map open. Oh yeah, look at that cursed spoon in the bottom right. Who will be the first to go out? That's a Williams. Is it Mr. Dog? It's got to be. The only Williams in this race. Oh, wait, no, it's Quimulus. Quimulus is the first one to take to the track, and so he will be the one that we look at for this outlap. Right, Quimulus, I think on 1 or 2 points, their AI having a stellar performance in last week's race. I don't know if the AI level has been reduced for this one to prevent that from happening. You're not really supposed to be able to keep points. And Stamp has DNF'd. Well, trying to find someone that we could see that from. Okay, here coming out of the pits. Looks like they've just looped it on the exit. Yeah, looks like they just got on the power a bit too hard coming out of the pits. Cold tires. And found the wall, but that is not the way you want to be starting your Grand Prix weekend. One of the Ferraris already out, having found the wall. A shame for them. They'll be starting from the back of the grid unless anyone gets a disqualification. Then they might start ahead of them. We'll go back on board with Quimulus here. Quimulus and... I forget who else was under control of AI last race, but it was double points for the 2 AI drivers who who were in that race. Rounding the final corner now. We got Quimulus. Let's take off some of this UI here. Let's go on board for their first lap. Barreling towards turn 1. It's a tight left to right hander, so you just want to get on the brakes and just thread it through there. The Alfa Romeo on the exit of the pit lane, maybe making him a bit unsighted, a bit uncomfortable with going all the way wide there, using all the track. Now this section is one that always tripped me up. I always bled too much speed off on the entry, and you lose time all the way through here. There, just you gotta use a blend of throttle, a little bit of brakes there, and be careful not to go wide here. Very easy to do. Or towing the line looked like. And down towards one of the ends of the spoon, the handle end of the spoon. Slightly banked corner, pitch it in, and you're just waiting forever to get on the throttle properly and to uncork that steering wheel. I cannot imagine driving this track without the suggested racing line. It's all so samey looking, and just a lot of the corners are really unsighted, tricky because of all the walls. You can't see it here. Here we come down the, I believe this is the second DRS straight. Heading into the back straight now. Just a quick flick through the S's there, showing purple in the middle sector there. Of course, we're the first ones to have a proper go at this track. And now heading down towards the final corner. Get to the right and do not have a Verstappen moment on the exit. A little wide of the apex there, but good enough. Good line through there. Gets on the power nice and well. DRS activated. Chuck has received a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Zhao. And across the line, Quimulus will set the pace. A 129.6. Godfather Martyr. Who's that? That's someone's wheel off. Is that both Ferraris out now? We'll see if... oh, and Onyx has had a collision. Let's see what Quimulus can see. Let's see if either of these cars get removed. Careful going in here. The Ferrari must have been on like the left part of the track, but yeah, that's going to be quite tricky to navigate for anyone who's still on a hot lap here. Looks like that Alfa Romeo of Bananarama is, and ooh, just having to get out of it. And yeah, on a flyer there, I believe. And they'll just have to back off, put the recharge on the battery, and hope they have enough fuel for another run. 3.1 liters of fuel. They might have another run in them, but might be truncated near the ends, and will definitely just, yeah. That's 3 cars out so far. Very high attrition rate. All 3 of them not even able to set a lap. Nordy predicting we're going to use all the safety cars. Yeah, I would not doubt it. It's the second longest track on the calendar, so I'd prefer we didn't have all the safety cars possible. But let's see. Let's just tab around. Golly on a lap. Bananarama on a lap. Those are the only 2 could be on a lap, but Bananarama is going to come around and start fresh here. Track must be in a nightmare on that gamepad. A lot of tracks that have a bunch of like left to right, a lot of direction changes. Typically, pad drivers do suffer a bit compared to wheels because they can't just get that how precise the precise direction changes that they might want. But after most people have made their first runs here, Bananarama with a 35 from their avoiding action. So they'll at least start ahead of the 2 Ferraris and Onyx in the Mercedes. But early running here so far, we have Quimulus, guy we rode on board with, setting the pace so far, 129.4. Then we have Robin on a 29.8, and about 700ths behind is Spen and P3, our championship leader. Then we have Sockeye, Martyr, JMU, Zhao, and Bananarama here, now setting a lap. And we'll get probably a representative time out of them. Just try to make sure that they don't overheat their tires in the first part of this lap. As said, I don't have any experience with this track, and I unfortunately did not catch the last race. How much should Robin underfuel? Ooh, yeah, that's a great question. Last race, you just got away with being about half a lap underfueled there. I'd say go minimum fuel. Go minimum fuel, because there will be safety cars. There has to be. There has to be a safety car that's going to come out today. Bananarama rounding the final corner. I don't think this lap's going to set the world on fire. It's going to be a 31.5 up to P6 for them. But there we. Did I see that correctly? Did Chronicle just completely skip across that corner and didn't invalidate? That's got to be one of those. Like I said earlier, the track limits here are a bit weird. Sometimes the inside of the curb, sometimes the outside. I haven't driven this track enough to really know one from the other. Now we'll see what kind of lap time they're able to produce here. Both Red Bull drivers unable to set a time thus far. This will be their second run. Through this quick flick through here, just keep it inside track limits. And onto the back straight you go. This is a track there has some very, very interesting permutations and setups. Lots of really high-speed sections, lots of really downforce dependent sections that you're going to want all the grip in the world. And all those straight lines, you're not going to want the wings at all. The Chronicle opening the letterbox in his rear wing, and it's at a 30.3. That's good enough for P4 so far. But almost a second off of Quimulus' time. Quimulus setting a very good lap. Even our championship leaders spend 4/10 off on their first attempt. We see yellow flags out there. Would it be for Dog, one of the Williams? Perhaps so. Invalidated lap time for them. Not able to set one thus far in the session. So, yeah, it's one of those tracks you got to just keep together for one lap. Get a lap on the board, get a banker on the board, and then you can start to push. Because if you don't set a lap, you're going to be in quite a bit of pain starting from the back of the grid. Although setting something like a 33 might not do you much any better. But it'll at least ensure that you start ahead of the people who were not able to set a lap. Regardless, is anyone on a valid lap? Robin? Looked like their ERS was blinking. Yeah, on a very long lap here, so this will be an out lap for them. Spen is on a flyer and is about 400ths up on their time so far. And just this long section here to go on the lap. This long section and one corner. That final corner that Verstappening found so difficult there. Aston Martin and Red Bull staying out of the way nicely there on the inside. And on to the final straight. What can Spen find here? Well, they put themselves in the pound seat to extend their championship advantage. It's an improvement by 3/10, but not good enough to reclaim pole, or claim, to begin with, pole from Quimulus, who's now on their second flying lap. Going through the first sector here, the Haas of Robin in front of them. Quimulus perhaps hoping that they could catch just a bit. Not too soon, very close to the wall there on the exit. Quimulus taking everything out of the track there. I might just hope to close in a bit on Robin just to get a touch of slipstream down the back straight. About here's where Quimulus might want to be in that slipstream range. I think a bit too far back. Oops. Yeah, just a bit too far back, looks like, to get the benefit of a slipstream here. We'll still get DRS, and actually Robin's backed out of this lap, probably invalidated. No, just unhappy with how it had gone so far, letting Quimulus through there. And now onto the main straight, close to the wall as you dare. Not quite close enough to clip the wing. Almost Brazil style, taking all the distance you can out of the run to the line there, and that's going to be a 29.3 for Quimulus. As soon as Spen starts to catch up, Quimulus moves the yardstick, and that wheel is still there. I think that belonged to the Ferrari of Stam there. Let's see. Sockeye then moves himself up to P3, nearly a second of improvement, down to a 29.7. Anyone else on a flying lap? Gali is, but has backed out. Zhao on an invalidated lap. What's Dog doing? Regenerating battery is the answer. Let's see, Robin went straight back into the pits. And is Sockeye trying again? Looked like they might have been, but they've invalidated, so not this time. Golly, I believe, will be the next one to go into a flying lap. Just to refresh you before we go on to it, Quimulus is so far in provisional pole position with a 29.3. So then we have Spin on a 29.5. Golly goes into the pits, so will not be attempting to improve their lap. Then we have Sockeye in P3, 29.7. Robin with a 29.8. Golly, just mentioned, with a 29.9. Chronicle 30.317. And Zhao on the exact same time, another 30.317. Although Chronicle will have set theirs first, as they are listed as being ahead. Martyr, as we just see them invalidate their lap on a 31.3, nearly a second back. Dog has put a time on the board. It's quite slow at a 31.4. Slow by their standards, I believe. And Bananarama in P10 so far, 31.5. Peter Ward and JMU next up, 31.6 and 31.8 respectively. Then we have the two Ferraris and a Mercedes having DNF'd out of the session, and Stolen Valor still running in the second Haas, but not setting a lap so far. Proving to be very tricky to get a valid lap on board. And when you do set a valid lap, very tricky to find one with any sort of pace. Bananarama, though, up half a second. If they hold this advantage, they will likely find themselves in P8. Let's see if they can get any more. The AlphaTauri staying out of their way. Try not to give them slipstream. Up to the final corner we go. Hanging around there. We'll be patient with the throttle. Little wiggle there, but nothing too bad. Exiting the final corner on a 27, 28, 29, 30. It's going to be a 30.8, and as predicted, we'll put them into P8 for now. Most everyone either in the pits or on an outlap. Some of the more conservative drivers might go out right about this time, give themselves enough time to go for a flyer, and then a recharge lap, and then another flyer. So losing a bit of performance from having the extra fuel on board, but getting the advantage of being able to go for 2 runs here right at the end. As we've seen, it's very easy to make mistakes and very, very easy to invalidate. Stolen Valor has got themselves on the board with a 32.4, which means that we won't see any people surviving qualifying. That will have been out-qualified by the people who didn't set any times. Of course, being the 2 Ferraris of Stem and Shuck, along with a Mercedes of one certain Onyx, although Furry Onyx did make quite a charge towards the sharp end of the field off the start last time. I believe at one point running in the podiums from the back of the grid in that race as well. So we'll see if they can have a repeat of that, or if the walls will be quite a bit more close than they were at Bahrain. We did see a couple spins from Furry Onyx. Here comes Gali onto their flying lap. And we'll see what they can do. We'll see how much this track is ramping up. And perhaps... Aston Martin on the inside. They're going to have to give way. Maybe that was not Gat. That was Sockeye. Staying out of the way nicely, though. Golly, very, very aggressive on the entrance curb there. Holding 5th gear. Carrying a lot of speed into here. This looks like a good run. Ooh, just loses the back end, though, and into the wall. I jinxed it. Said it was a good run. Well, it was a good run, but just a little too much speed into that corner. Around you go. And that's going to be Gali out of the session. The best that they will start is P5. They're on a 29.9. Close contenders, 4 tenths behind. Of course, the twin times of Chronicle and Zhao, both on the 30.317s. They'll be looking to improve and try to claim Gali's position. Quimulus now on a hot lap. The dead body of Gali has been removed, so no one has to worry about crashing into it. We'll see if Quimulus can improve on this time further. They've held pole from the time that they set their first time. They were the first person that set a time. Ooh, they're going to have to back out of this one. Luckily, it was early in the lap, so they can just put the recharge on, keep the tires in a decent temperature, but try to keep some wear off of them. This lap will not count for them. They're going to have to go for another lap with worn tires. Spin, again, improving. A 3/10 improvement, but it's not good enough. Or perhaps I was a bit bamboozled by the delta in the top right saying that he improved. when he in fact didn't. A little bit of a twitch there on the exit, getting very, very familiar with the wall there. Very, very friendly. Not quite kissing it on the curb on the inside. Ooh, the car looks just so loose on the setup there, having to lift a bit just to make sure they don't have a repeat of Ghali's incident. And just dancing it through these bits here. If I do compare the attitude of Quimulus's car to Spen's here, it looks like Spen is running a much lower downforce setup than Quimulus here. Spen just looks that much more loose going through the corners. It just looks that much more understeery, like the car wants to give way. But better top speed is oftentimes the better race setup. And so, expect Spen to move forward. Zhao has now retired. Just coming out of the first sector. I don't think we'll get anyone there in time to see exactly what happened. We might see one of the Red Bulls get there. We'll quickly check which one that is. Peter Ward. Let's quickly go on board. Sorry, Quimulus, you're not going to get the spotlight for what might be a... not Quimulus, Spen. Yeah, just on the inside there, getting caught out. Spen getting a little bit of a slipstream there, and Spen will claim pole position by a matter of 4/10, and Quimulus will not be able to have a retort to that, as they have finished their session out, electing to just dive into the pit lane and not attempt another lap. Sockeye getting very close to the wall there on the exit. And will charge towards the line to see if they can improve their position to P3. Improves their time, but not their position. Next up in our running order will be Robin across the line. I think we'll see one of the Red Bulls crossing first, one with an invalidated time. Peter Ward, the other Red Bull. Looks like they're down about 0.6 of a second. So I wouldn't expect an improvement from them. Robin, very, very close on their time. 0.2 up here. Could stand to put them on the qualifying podium ahead of Sockeye. We'll have to see what they can do. Down the back straight we go. The letterbox-sized opening in the rear wing coming open the DRS, allowing some extra speed down that straight. Around the final corner, little twitch there. Keeps it under wraps, gets a decent launch. Not taking as much liberties with the track limits on the inside there. It's going to be a 0.3 improvement, just missing out on P2 by about 1/10. Let's see what JMU can do here. They've already finished the session, so we're just waiting for Peter Ward to be wheeled into the garage, and that is it for qualifying. Spen will find a pole position here with a 28.9. 0.4 faster than Quimulus there in P2. Big asterisk. Quimulus looked to be the faster of the two, but invalidated and unfortunately did not have a final run. Then in P3 we have Robin for Haas, about 0.4 down from the pole time of Sockeye, Ghali. The only drivers within 1/10 of our pole time there. 29.9 for Ghali in P5. Then we have Chronicle, Zhao, Bananarama, Martyr, and Dog filling out the consecutive spots up to P10. Then we have Peter Ward, Stolen Valor, JMU, Stam from 11th to 14th. Stam, one of the 3 drivers to DNF from this session. Furionics and Chuck SRQ being the other 2. Lucky there from Stam to end up at the front of that pack. Of course, Chuck falling behind with the 5-place grid penalty, but considering Stam didn't even make it a corner out of the pit lane, the game decides you are going to be in front of Furionics Jam Lad, the boy. But we head into the race now. It's going to be a battle of consistency, I feel. Just the ability to get a consistent lap in. Don't get too many track limits penalties. And just keep it all together. Keep it out of the wall. Don't ruin your front wing. And the other thing is to keep on top of the strategy. We're heading into the race here. If safety cars did not exist, this race, I'm pretty sure would be a medium to hard. You could probably do a soft to hard or hard to soft. It probably wouldn't be as quick, but the option's there if you want to get an extra bit of grip off the start line and for the first few laps. Probably not the best option is a soft to hard, but because safety cars do exist, perhaps starting on the soft is the way to go. If you have an extra if you have an extra brand new set of soft tires, we'll see. A lot of people raising expletives in the Division 2 chat. We might find ourselves delayed here. What has happened? Everyone seeming to pull away from the grid. Is that AI driving? I don't believe it's the AI. I don't think it's the AI driving. Oh, it was popping off because someone readied up despite it being requested specifically that they did not. I was a bit worried that everyone had dropped out of the lobby. But anyway, realized I had my mouse on the screen again. Shambles. Let's see what tires everyone's starting on. Everyone, apart from JMU, Onyx, and Chuck, opting for the mediums. So we'll see what kind of start they can get away with. No one opting for the softs. Last week we only saw one person opt for the softs. And it didn't quite work out for them. They got caught up in a couple incidents in the first few laps and then just was not able to take advantage of the tire. But the Snake coming through the track now. The field a little bit spread out. Spin on the final straight now, and Chuck, the driver in last place. Not even close. Only on the second DRS straight here, so Spin's going to be in for a pretty long wait on the grid, I feel. If this were real life, you'd have to worry about cooling tires, your brakes getting too hot, your engine overheating. If this were real life, of course, it's not. It's a game, and they don't simulate everything like that. So lucky for Spin, they don't have to worry about their brakes catching fire, or their tires turning into blocks of ice, or their engine doing the thing that the Renault engine likes to do on the weekends. But leader going to their pit box now, or to their start box now, and last place, just approaching the grid. A little bit of contact there, looks like. Some people getting disqualified from the session. Let's get an onboard from Sockeye and P4. Let's get an onboard start here. I don't trust the game to give me a decent camera angle again. Here come the license. We're about to go green here in Saudi Arabia. It's a decent hold. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys. A lot of oversteer there from the Aston Martin, and everyone looks like they've gone away A-okay. Into turn one then. Anybody getting contact here? It's 4 wide. That's unadvisable, and there's shambles further back. Plenty of front wings being broke off there. And not the cleanest start. Some people gaining, some people losing. About to go 3 wide here. AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo battling out. Alfa Romeo pushed off the track. Haas getting all out of shape there. I'm just calling out the cars because I can't see quite who it is. And is this a virtual safety car now? I believe so. Lots of debris on the track. We see Chuck SRQ missing a front wing end plate. Stolen Valor completely wingless. So is Peter Ward. JMU looks like they may have gotten away with that. Have to look from a front angle. Yeah, it looks like they got away with it. Nothing cosmetic, at least. And when will we get under green conditions again? Furionics again making a great start, up to P10 already. But we'll look ahead. Spin has already created a 2.4 second gap. Everyone flooring it. Looks like we're about to go green, and yes, we are indeed. Quimulus about almost a second ahead as we have a couple people battling for position. It looks like Onyx has made up yet another position, just sliding past Gali. And Gali looks like has damage there. Yes, missing a front wing end plate and will tumble down the order. Peter Ward has found themselves spinning without their front wing as Gali continues to tumble down the order. Will Stam be close enough to make a move into the final corner there? Yes, going to try to go around the outside. Onyx keeping them a bit wide, but Stam getting on the power very nicely indeed. And it's down the front straight. Ooh, a bit of a squeeze into the wall there. There was contact, I think, with Furionics and the wall. And just behind, as the Ferrari decisively claims the racing line, but the Aston Martin comes in. There's contact between Stam and Zhao, and just looked like the Aston Martin was there fairly. Stam is waiting for that, I think, recognizing that was perhaps their fault, and waiting for Zhao to go back past. So good sportsmanship there. Unfortunate to see a collision nonetheless, as we had 4 people in for front wing changes. Gali, Chuck, Stolen Valor, and Peter Ward all in for front wing changes. And let's quickly go over who's the big winner. Is that Stam being slow again? We had yellow flags for just a second. It may have been Chuck. Chuck, of course, last week as well, getting caught up in turn 1 shambles. It looks like they've done it again here today. Stolen Valor has DNF'd. Looks like they've found the wall, and it's going to be a full safety car now. And this raises the question of who goes in and who does not. Haas of Stolen Valor on the inside wall there. Unfortunate. And you hate to see it, but it will be our first safety car of the day. Will anyone take advantage? Will anyone decide to come into the pit lane? Spin. Quimulus? No. Quimulus will not. Spin gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and has so far been the only driver to take the opportunity to pit. Let's see what tires they put on. Looks like a set of the white wall hard tires. So perhaps we'll be trying to go to the end of the race. Onyx also in changing their front wing, so confirmation that there was contact with the wall. They're having to find themselves a fresh front wing, but I believe Spin and Onyx are the only 2 to have pit during this safety car period. So we'll have to see how that pans out for our pole sitter and our championship leader. But it's going to be Quimulus who will then take over the lead, followed by Chronicle and P2 Robin, rounding out the podium thus far. Sockeye P4, P5 goes to Martyr, Dog in P6, Bananarama, JMU, Spinwolf, and Zhao, rounding out the top 10. We have Stam, Onyx, Gali, Chuck, and Peter Ward all having made pit stops so far in the race. Let's quickly have a look as to what tire everyone is on so far. So still no one on the hard tire, or no one on the soft tires. I say no one on the soft tires as we're looking at someone on the soft tires. So Peter Ward going to be trying to take advantage of those soft tires to try and make a few moves, and perhaps hoping that there will be yet another safety car period. But yeah, no huge surprises, nothing too terribly shocking in terms of a tire choice there. But the big drama, probably the biggest drama from that, is Spin going into the pits, speeding, finding a 5-second time penalty for themselves, and a fresh set of hard tires. I think the preview said that the hards would go for about 28 laps, so should be able to get to the end from here, but we'll see. On to our second lap of safety car conditions. At the end of this lap, we should be going green, and it'll be happy days for me. So yeah, Spin in P9, I mean, that 5-second time penalty is just going to be haunting them this entire race. And the thing about a 5-second time penalty is that it's possible to be removed. Sometimes you'll get a 5 seconds for contact under safety car. Sometimes you'll be hit from behind into the pit lane and you'll speed that way. So a 5-second time penalty is never assured. No time penalty is ever assured. So while in the moment you might think, oh, this guy's a penalty, I can let him pass, sometimes that's not the case. So you'll want to find tooth and nail. And Mindbot. Can I send an invite from here? I don't think I have them. I don't have them. Can I send a friend request? I can't. I don't think I can send a friend request from here either, so It's unfortunate. I'm not able to invite because I don't have you on friends, and it doesn't look like I'm able to add any friends from here. So it's probably gonna have to be someone else in the lobby. I'll take another look, make sure I didn't gloss over. No. Oops, I've invited a Tory by accident. Oops. Teehee. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like I have the option to send an invite from here. So unfortunate. Maybe someone else will be able to toss you an invite. Hopefully, someone else will be able to toss you an invite. But we're about to go green here. The safety car rounding the final corner now, and we'll be heading into the pits. Quimulus becomes the de facto safety car. We'll watch on board here from Chronicle, who has their overtake enabled. That's very interesting. And a little tap there, and Quimulus is gone. Quimulus picking a very, very good moment to go there, seeing how close Chronicle got. I don't know if there was quite contact between them. Dog looking like they've gotten a decent restart here on Martyr, and is going to look to go up the inside, flies into the corner, just about keeps it under wraps, so not completely shambolic there, just a little bit caught out by Sockeye being a bit slow there on the apex and just having to throw it up the inside there. But Dog now up to P4 from their rather disappointing qualifying, and we'll look to move forward, to march on. That looks to be all the action from the restart so far. Will Sockeye seek to do to Dog what did to them? No, not quite. This isn't really an outbreaking opportunity going into this corner and out of it. But the Aston Martin will surely continue to hassle and to harry the Williams driver through this next section here. Perhaps looks like Dog's using a slightly lower downforce setup. We'll have to look. Sockeye didn't get the best exit onto the straight and is using a lot of ERS. The yellow flag's out. Would that be Onyx in the wars? No, not quite sure who that would have been for. Let's go back on board now. We're having a swapping of positions as Spen has got those hard tires up to temperature and will start to move forward, making their first overtake in their campaign, going past JMU. But it looked like Dog gained down that straight. There we go. Sockeye getting a better exit, but now losing time to the Williams driver ahead of them. So yeah, looking like Dog might have the better straight line set up here. Could we see a 3-wide action going into turn 1? Zhao's going to get overtaken by the Ferrari on the inside. The Alpine leaves the space ahead. And we'll see. Stam is just able to squeeze past the Aston Martin. Is there damage for the Aston Martin? Because now we have another Alpine right on their tail of Gali. Did Stam get back in? I know they disconnected. But it looks like their AI putting in work so far. Onyx, yeah, that yellow flag I guess would have been for Onyx because they have gone back into the pit lane. And yeah, unfortunate for them. Aston Martin of Sockeye continuing to just be right on the gearbox of Dog. You start to wonder, maybe Dog got a bit of damage from that haphazard dive bomb. I'm sure they didn't super mean to do it, but they've done it nonetheless. And they are perhaps living with a bit of damage, as they've fallen behind the front trio quite quickly. And speaking of the front trio, we see Quimulus enjoying a bit of an advantage here, to the tune of about 2 seconds here, way out of DRS range. We see Chuck coming up closely on Gali, looking to go around the outside into the final corner. No switches to the inside at the last second. And we'll have DRS on this lap, not on this straight for these two, but going onto the lap, we'll see some DRS action for them. Coming down the main straight now, Bananarama is going to make a move on the AlphaTauri. And further behind, we see Chuck on the inside of Gali, making the move work up the inside into turn 1. Will Gali have the purchasing power with their rear tires? Get the acceleration? Will they be able to reply? No, not quite. Let's go back to this battle here. Sockeye just able to follow so closely, applying so much pressure to the Williams driver ahead of them. But where can they make a move? Answer is either into the final corner or into the first corner. Or perhaps somewhere in between if that doesn't work out for them. But, yeah, I don't know if Stam's been able to rejoin here, but whether it's them or their AI, in the points for the time being and looking like they're pulling away from P11. Sockeye once again getting close under DRS, but not quite close enough. Behind we see a move for position here. Stam getting past JMU there. So either Stam, the real one, or the AI, finding their way past. Speaking of, round the outside goes Robin. Lovely little move there in Bananarama. Fighting with Spinwolf here. Looking to see who could take advantage of the DRS, and it's looking to be the McLaren driver going to the inside of turn 1 on the favored overtaking positions, and it will be favored for them here today. And through goes the McLaren driver, but behind we have Martyr in P8 in the AlphaTauri. Can they find a way past in this tight, tricky section? They don't have too much ERS to speak of, and it doesn't look like, although they are very, very close on the gearbox. I missed, into the wall there slightly, and it looks like front wing damage to them, understeering all over the place. And we'll see just how quickly Stam's AI, or perhaps Stam themselves, still don't know, closing up to the back of them. Let's give you an update on the Sockeye dog battle. I've unfortunately missed it. I can only imagine it was a DRS move into turn 1. The dog eventually having to cede that position to the driver that they so rudely took to begin with. But P5 then for the driver in P2 in the Drivers' Championship. Zhao without a front wing, very easily being navigated past by Chuck SRQ. This is the kind of action that you can kind of expect as we move through it. Martyr really kind of suffering there from the damage to their front wing. Stam's going to take advantage here. Up the inside, going to the final corner. Weirdly enough, Martyr doesn't really seem to be giving way. You're not really obliged to, even if you have damage. Not really giving way there. But Bananarama, or rather, Stam will find their way past. And dragging JMU along with them for the ride. P9 for the Alpine driver, P10 for the other one. So double points so far. Peter Ward perhaps will be motivated to get a move on and try to get a slice of that pie. We see Robin here in P3, battling for P2. Was in P2 earlier, got overtaken by Chronicle, and is just sticking around in that DRS. DRS, there being 3 sectors with DRS assistance around this track, very hard to break free. Very, very difficult to break free of that. The Chronicle trying to do a good job here. Is lengthened their advantage from about 7/10, from about 4/10 rather, to about 7/10. Robin has that 3-second time penalty to worry about, so just hoping to get out of range to Sockeye. And probably hoping that there will not be another safety car. Someone who might be hoping for a safety car is Spinwolf. And perhaps they've gotten it. Furryonyx is out of the session. Can we see what's happened here? And it is a safety car coming out of the pits. And it looks like they've lost it on the outside curb there. I did that a couple times in the 5 lappers I've run here. And just getting pitched into the inside wall, so bad luck for them. And Quimulus gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. A bit tricky seems to be this pit entrance. But we'll see everybody going into the pits here. Surely we will. And Bananarama, the latest to get a 5-second time penalty for speeding. Will the Red Bull be held? No, we have the setting on that lets them go out even if there's another car in the way. Will it have been a faster pit stop? Ooh, this could be interesting. Robin and Chronicle inside one another. Who will get the impetus? It will be Chronicle who pulls ahead. JMU will remain out on their on the tires that they started the race with. Spen, of course, will remain on the tires that they went in for 7 laps ago under the first safety car. And Quimulus will fall in behind, both with 5-second time penalties. And JMU in third has to pit again. So we look towards Chronicle. Fresh hard tires. These will definitely go to the end from here. Mediums would go to the end from here as well. And we see Gali, the only driver on the mediums so far. Those will get you to the end. At least I believe they will. And so Gali will perhaps be looking to move forward from this position. But, so we have Spin, our championship leader, looking for a repeat. 5-second time penalty notwithstanding. Quimulus P2, again, a 5-second time pen. JMU, so I'm getting an invite, a request for an invite from Nordy. I should have you as a friend. I do. Invite sent. Get that one up, yeah. I'll even send you a. I can't send you a Steam invite. I'd send you both invites if I could, but I could not. We have one more lap under safety car conditions before we're looking to go green once again. But as I was saying earlier, Chronicle in the pound seats. JMU ahead has to pit again. Quimulus with a 5-second time penalty and Spinwolf on worn tires and having to serve a 5-second time pen at some point in this race. So Chronicle will be looking perhaps for a win here. Martyr, if I can find them, has a bit of contact with the car ahead and will dive into the pit lane. Only 2 laps on these hard tires. What will they be putting on? They got a 5-second time penalty for a bit of contact. And they're putting the softs on. These will not go to the end, but they'll probably go to the next safety car period, which we'll probably see. We've seen 2 safety cars in a matter of 10 laps. Not quite as shambolic as one might have thought. No mega shambles so far. But we'll see. So soft tires then for Martyr. We'll see what we can do with that. Quimulus dropping down the order. They've spun under safety car. They've made like George Russell in the Williams and have spun under safety car. And rather painfully dropping from P2 back to P13. No track position advantage for them, and also no strategy advantage for them. Everyone in front is on the same strategy, save for Gali and JMU. And Spinwolf as well on aged tires, but I doubt they'll be aged enough for Quimulus to make that drive all the way back up there. So the cold tires just cashing Quimulus out, finding themselves in P13. Just before we get the running back underway, let's recap where everyone is as we see the message safety car in. Spinwolf on P1, JMU P2, Chronicle rounding out the podium, provisional podium mind you. We have Robin in P4 with a time penalty. Sockeye, P5, Dog find themselves in P6. Bananarama, Stam, and Gali with Peter Ward rounding out the top 10. We have Chuck, Zhao, Quimulus, and Martyr rounding out the field here. And we'll be looking to get underway here. JMU with overtake enabled and gets a really good restart. Ooh, but just has to lift. Doesn't want to overtake before the line. That's going to give Chronicle the opportunity and the impetus to come straight past them here. Round the outside. There's battling further back. As we see Dog and the Williams trying to get around the outside of Sockeye once again. The Alpine of Gali getting shoved out quite wide. And the Alpine and the Haas still battling here, although the Alpine goes off track and will probably have to cede that position to Robin, but won't want to let Dog through as well, who did make their way past on Sockeye to the inside of the sweeping section. Just a bit messy there. Isn't quite able to keep it on the track. Dog gets caught out. JMU will then slow up and lets all 3 cars through. Perhaps felt that they just needed to get out of the way a bit there, or they had gone off the track a couple times, thinking, I need to relinquish this position. So good sportsmanship shown there. Peter Ward in the Red Bull attacking Chuck, and someone in the background, and that's Martyr. Into the wall hard, looks like contact with Zhao, and we are once again under safety car conditions. So 3rd safety car of the day. Ooh. Not quite sure what happened there. I'd have to speculate that it would be the soft-shod martyr trying an adventurous overtake, having all the extra grip, and Zhao not expecting it. Unfortunate, unfortunate. But this gives Spinwolf an opportunity. If they want to remove that 5-second time penalty, they can take a pit stop here. They're going to opt not to. I can't imagine we'll be seeing too many people into the pits this lap. Still not really in range for softs to get to the end. And is that JMU into the pits? Yes, JMU was probably going to be the only one that would ever go into the pits, as they hadn't pit just yet. The mediums will definitely go the distance from here. We see quite a few people behind taking pits. Front wing, front wing. I remember Zhao needing a front wing as well. Lots of front wings going out to everyone involved. So we see JMU, Stem, Quimbulus, Peter Ward, Zhao all going to fresh medium tires. They'll have the pace advantage to the end of the race here compared to everyone else on the hards. But yeah, I'd say Quimbulus is still in a decent position here. These fresh medium tires, they are behind 2 people on the same strategy, so they'll hope to clear those 2 quite quickly and then start their march towards the front of the field, but they could still be on for a good result here. Let's quickly look at the penalty situation. Spinwolf has mentioned ad nauseum so far in this race, I must admit, is on 5 seconds. Chronicle without any time penalties on fresher tires. In the pound seat for the victory at this stage, in my opinion. Robin on 3 seconds for a track limits violation. Dog and Sockeye keeping themselves nice and clean so far. It's good to see from them. I've also been informed that Sockeye is Daryl Adam. And I know that name. I don't know the Sockeye name, but I do know the Daryl Adam name. So that is good information for me. Bananarama, the only other person with a penalty so far, being 5 seconds for the Alfa Romeo driver speeding in the pit lane. But one more lap to go under safety car conditions. I have exhausted one of my cups of water. Love me some water. It's on to the second cup of water. Oh. Let's see here. Big gainers so far. Chuck, one of the cars to DNF in qualifying, finding themselves up 8 positions. Dog also doing a great job from P10 now in P4, up 6 positions. There's 3 drivers who have gained 4 positions thus far in this race. Chronicle is the lead of them. JMU and Stam the other 2 near the back of the pack on P9 and P10. Both in points-paying positions. Quimbulus has had the most painful race of those still running. P11 for them. Zhao as well, also having quite a painful race, down 6 positions. And Peter Ward down 1, Gonli down 2, Sockeye down 1. So, that's your running order so far. We should be back under green flag conditions at the end of this lap. And what a piddly little sign in the middle of that court. I've never noticed that before. Can we get that? Can we get that? Yeah. Jeddah. Oi, babe, you want to go kiss next to the Jeddah sign? I bet you'd be so romantic and the lighting would be blinding us while we're taking the picture. And they wouldn't even be able to see us or anything because it's just so dang bright. The camera would be so overexposed. But, yeah, no, mate, let's go to the Jeddah sign. Here's the Jeddah Corny Circuit. What a stupid little sign. And I'm sure the developer who worked very hard to model that sign is crying. Here's a question for chat. Anyone who is free to open up Google as we are about to get underway again. Does that sign exist in real life? Is there an actual Jeddah sign in the courtyard here? I don't know why that tickles me so much, but it does. That's ridiculous. We're about to get under green flag conditions here. Again, the car is coming up to the final corner here. The spin going to be on the more worn tires. Will they be able to retain the lead? they go. And looks like it's a good restart. No, they're slowing down. They went too soon. I think the safety car, I think they got automatically slowed by the game. This is going to cause shambles behind. They're going to be 3 wide behind here. As we see Golly, no, going to go 2 by 2. Golly trying to move up the inside of Robin. Not quite going to work. And Sockeye losing positions out the wazoo, down to P6 now for them. Still side-by-side action behind one of the Ferraris. Chuck is going to have to back out there as we go into the twisty bits. But Quimulus, as we see Stam, it's the 2 Ferraris having issues here. Both without front wings. And oh, a naughty little reset to track there for Chuck. Naughty boy. Who will care enough to report him for that? Not me. But Golly is in P4. Of course, on those medium tires, I believe. Yes, on the medium tires. We see yellow flags once again. That's JMU. Have they found the wall or just had a bit of a spin there? Taking very, very good care there to make sure that they don't rejoin unsafely. But in all the melee and the chaos, I've missed an overtake for the lead. Chronicle, on their fresh, harder tires, have got past Spen, and they'll hope to speed away. In doing so, Chronicle has found themselves a 3-second time penalty. So, just behind here, Quimulus on their march up from the back of the pack, once again, on the medium tires. Finding themselves in P8 so far. We have another yellow flag that looks for one of the Ferraris. Perhaps letting their teammate by. I saw one of them with no, both of them are missing their front wings. I think both of them will be in. But perhaps Stam intending on retiring and just wanting their teammate to get ahead. Spins very, very close here. Going through this section here, or perhaps the Ferrari driver of Stam just hoping to kind of make it right with their teammate. Perhaps they feel it was their fault for the incident and saying, "Oh, no, you go on, mate. You have the position. You can get first go at the pit stop." But anyway, Quimulus continuing to harry here. Bananarama pulls the old switcheroo in that corner. Lovely stuff. Finds P7. So a great charge so far. And if I then pull up the gap here, Quimulus only 2.8 seconds behind the leader. No penalties for them. I said Chronicle was in the pound seat to win this, but it might just be that Quimulus comes back through. Yellow flags again, and we see Stam has found the wall. Will that be another safety car? Indeed, and perhaps saving Sockeye's bacon there. Looked like Quimulus was about to send one around the outside, and we see our 4th safety car of the day. Will there be any safety cars? Allegations in chat. Committing suicide. I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it was just the cold tires. But yeah, not a great weekend for Ferrari here, running last and DNF. Quimulus currently owns the fastest lap, and I wanted to show that quickly. But let's see if anyone comes in here. A couple people onto the medium tires. And, yeah, so not a great day for Ferrari thus far. But it will be the fresh mediums for them to get to the end of this race. Perhaps feasible to go into the softs. I think the softs would make it from here. But I don't think it would be very, very quick. I think going for the softs is like a last 5 or 6 lap maneuver, which I think will only have 5 or 6 laps of this race once the safety car finds its way back into the pit lane. And under safety car conditions, we have a spin. Chuck will not DNF, but the cold tires catching them out, and they will unfortunately have to relinquish those medium tires. At this stage, you gotta say, the softs are looking a bit attractive, probably for them. Let's go through the running order quickly. Chronicle leading the race on hard tires and on 3 seconds of time penalties. Spin behind on 5 seconds. Robin behind them on also 5 seconds, and also hard tires. Spin, as I've said and said and said and said and said and said. On the more worn tires. And we have Gali here on 7-lap old mediums. And without a penalty. This is interesting. Gali might just find themselves with a win in this race. And Dog, from way down the field, might find another P2 in this race. On the hot tires, I don't think they're likely to be able to overtake Gali. They'll have to defend from Sockeye behind, who at some stages in this race has looked the faster driver. So they'll hope to not give up that position. Quimulus, the lead of the drivers who pit 5 laps ago for the medium tires, will have more grip than the 2 cars ahead, and marginally more than Gali. So perhaps a good result here for Quimulus, lying in wait. Then we have Zhao behind them, also on the medium tires, 5 laps old. Then JMU, also on 5-lap old mediums. And we get to Bananarama and Peter Ward before we start seeing the fresh medium tires. 1 lap of wear for Bananarama, 2 laps of wear for Peter Ward. And Chuck, Mr. Slippin' Chucky here, on the soft tires. Will this afford them a bit more grip? You know what? I'm a shithead. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Oops. We'll keep on board with them, and we'll see if they have another little issue here. Hopefully they won't find themselves in the wall again. Does have to push a bit to find the back of the pack. Well, it looks like they'll catch up just fine. So, or perhaps I have done a good old-fashioned commentator's curse on them. Let's check in with Robin. I advise going for the minimum amount of fuel in their tank. They're at plus 1.4 laps for now. Oh yes, yeah mate, I'm from the BBC, old Boofy from the BBC. I sincerely apologise for the inappropriate language used on the stream. It was a mistake I made in the heat of the moment, and talking about hot moments, we're about to go green once again. But how long will we stay under green? Here we go, approaching the final corner now. Spin leaving a lot of space between themselves and Chronicle. And Chronicle looks like they've just put the boot down straight out of the corner and will take that 8/10 gap. Thank you very much. And a pretty procedural looking restart here. I don't think anyone swapping positions around. And indeed, settling into the race once again. Very, very peaceful. More peaceful than the last restart, where it looked like we had someone struggling here. Bananarama, on their fresh mediums, will find their way past JMU, and Quimulus will get past Sockeye. These fresh medium tires working out for the drivers who took them. And in fact, the Aston Martin of Sockeye finds themselves falling into the grasp of their teammate of Zhao. And rather short order. Peter Ward looking around the outside of JMU there. These fresher tires proving to be a bit of a motivator for these guys to get a move on, try to find their way past. It's a tricky place to overtake, is this tight, twisty bit. But they'll have the slipstream. No DRS, not for the next couple laps at least. But will they be able to find something, perhaps going into the final corner? Let's earmark that. Will the Astons? Will they do a bit of some clever teamwork here? Zhao on the faster, softer tires, as we see Peter Ward getting overtaken by Chuck, making a bit of a mistake there, perhaps. And the soft tire runner, making their way past. And Peter Ward gets a bit deep in that corner, almost finds the wall. Manages to keep it out, running up to turn 1. Dog trying around the outside of Gali, or perhaps Gali trying up the inside of Dog. P4 then for the French driver, who is effectively in the lead of this race. But don't rest on your laurels just yet, because we have Quimulus just behind. I never really pictured Dog as much of a team player, but it would behoove the Williams team if Quimulus was the lead driver at this stage. And I'm sure Quimulus feels the same way. Looking to the outside, looking to the inside rather, is Dog on Golly, perhaps going for a half move there to try and defend from their teammate behind who was having to look around the outside. But all Quimulus can really do at this stage in lap is just hang closely behind and hope and pray they can find a way past their teammate. But we can see Dog making an early bid for the Best Teammate Award, Cruzo style, which, just to add another one of my accolades there, oh golly, finds themselves a 3-second time penalty. That spiced things up right a treat. Out of the pound seat, and now it's Dog who finds themselves with perhaps an opportunity to win here. Or they might just find a repeat of last week. A P2 Chuck finds their way past JMU on the back straight. But back up to this battle, again, still would behoove Williams to get Quimulus past Dog. Dog looking for a move there, not quite finding it. Did graze the wall, looks like. I don't think hard enough for damage, but maybe just enough to wake them up. And yeah, now that Golly has this penalty, Dog's in the pound seat for the win. So perhaps 3.5 seconds behind the leader. If we get an update on the penalties there, yeah, not quite in range for the win here. We see a spin at the back. That'll be Peter Ward. They get it going once again. Don't stall it. They keep her going. I still think Quimulus has to be the favorite to win this, but they have to get a move on. There's about 4 and a bit laps remaining, and they have to pick their way past these two cars and close up to the leader to see if they can walk away with a win here. They're very, very close with their teammate now with DRS ahead, and again making a bit of a mistake there. That's the second time they've made a mistake at that corner as Quimulus, and falling behind and losing perhaps the opportunity to go for an overtake down this back straight. In chat, predicted it's going to be Chronicle versus Robin for the win. Likely. They do seem to be walking away from this group. It doesn't seem like Golly can really live with the pace. I say that. If they didn't have that penalty, they'd be right on the cusp. But here comes Dog to try and make a case for improving their position in this race, and they do, finding P4 and 4/10 to gain on the leader to become our de facto leader. Behind here, the two Astons have swapped positions. Zhao has overtaken their teammate Sockeye, and we'll set about getting up to the back of this train. Dog losing time through the first sector so far, so perhaps an ill-advised move there. We see behind their teammate, though, going around the outside of Golly. They're both on the medium tires, but I think Quimuluses will be a bit fresher, and they find the purchase. Around the outside they go. And Quimulus finds P5, and this is what they need. This is what they needed to stay in the picture for a win here. Now it's their teammate. They'll have DRS to catch up down this straight. They'll try not to make a mistake going through this chicane coming up. Maybe they'll play a bit hooky with the DRS. Yeah, making it through just nicely indeed. I don't think quite close enough to make an overtake on this back straight. Not quite sure you'd want to make one on the back straight to begin with. In fact, taking a wider line and getting out of the slipstream to make sure that they don't get too close to their teammate. They'll be hoping to get close, and that's the impetus they need. They see the flashing ERS light on Dog's car. Not plenty of ERS for Quimulus. A fastest lap, though, and a simple enough DRS overtake. No, Dog's going to try it back up the inside. I didn't really think there was the space there, and I don't think Quimulus did either. Bit of contact between the two, but Dog keeps her going. Go on board now with Spen, who has spent about half of their ERS and is allegedly the one with the most in the field. Also on the oldest tires, and Quimulus, as soon as they get into the pound seat to perhaps try and win this race, they find a penalty, and Dog once again is looking Is not looking to be on for the win, but P2, perhaps, if they can catch back up to their teammate and find some DRS to help keep them in touch with the top few. But it's just cursed. This P4 is just cursed. Everyone gets there and then they get a penalty. And then things go sideways. So Quimulus is going to have to do this the hard way with 2 and a bit laps remaining in this race. It's gone by very, very quickly despite the 4 safety car periods. It's going to be Chronicle. Chronicle looks to be the favorite. 2 seconds the gap between themselves and Robin. And an effective gap of 1 second to Dog, and they'll likely pull that out. Looking behind, Spin is looking to spend a bit of that extra ERS up the inside. Simple enough move. Just with DRS, Spin on the oldest tires here will look to get a move on to try and stay on the podium. But behind, someone who else is going to be looking to get a move on here is Quimulus. Now about 2.5 tenths behind Robin. An overtake here would get them on the provisional podium, pending how closely behind Dog finishes. But it could be very, very close here, as we have 1 and a bit laps remaining. Speaking of very, very close, the hard tires of Sockeye perhaps coming back a bit, as they are hassling their teammate all the way here through the first couple sectors. Luckily for Zhao, having DRS off of Gali in front, so perhaps we'll be able to fend off their teammate. Let's take a quick look at their ERS percentages. In fact, identical ERS percentages between them. So 2 teammates very, very close on track and very, very close in terms of their ERS percentages. Quimulus looks like they're going to shape up a move around the outside. Will their medium tires still have the extra grip? Perhaps a bit of contact there. Robin looking like they got put off a bit there. Half spin for them. It's going to be the move done, though, for Quimulus. And nothing doing between the Astons just yet, but they look like they're going to be just close enough behind to go for moving to turn 1. Gali going to try around the outside of Dog, and there's not going to be enough space around there for them. 2 Astons holding station. It's always going to be a bit difficult to send a move around the outside of Dog, and we see why. I'm just showing the French driver in the Alpine to the outside of the corner. Have the Astons tangled? They have indeed. Ooh, and that's a big collision there. And Chuck has finally retired from this session. Lots of penalties being handed out there. It's too late in the race. Oh no! Oh no! A big collision there for oh no. It's all shambles. We'll only have 9 finishers here. Chronicle leading, but the gap's coming down, and Quimulus is making a case to get past Spen here. They are passed on penalties, but it's all coming together quite nicely here. Dog only 3 seconds behind the leader. They can still steal the win. They're still within range. They're out of ERS. They'll want the ERS for this next straight here, and I think they might just get it. And Dog might just steal this from the leader. It's all happening here on the final lap here, the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Spin gonna get within a second of the leader here, and we'll prevent Quimulus from overtaking on track. Out of the final corner now, Dog a mere 2.9 seconds behind. It's gonna be very, very close to the line. Provisionally, Chronicle will win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. But we wait for the penalties to come in, and it is! It's Dog who takes the win, pending steward inquiries. They finished P2 in the first race, and now they're P1 here. But Dog finding the win by an absolutely minuscule margin of 0.03, 39 thousandths of a second. Dog takes the win. We'll have to see if they get any penalties, but that rather stiff arm that they put on Gali near the end there might come back to haunt them in the steward's room, but for now, they can enjoy a win here in Division 2. Finding a very, very good result after a P2 in the first race. It's a P1 for them here. Second appearance on the podium. What a shambles we witnessed in that final lap. But what a little drive there from Dog to get back into the podium positions here. It's a double podium then for Williams. Quimbulas filling P3 there. A great drive from them to recover from their spin under safety car conditions. You might think what could have been, but you gotta revel in a great drive like that regardless. But whew, what an exciting little race that turned out to be. Despite the 4 safety car periods, never really felt like the race got boring. Never really felt like it slowed down. Bahrain got slow in a couple places, but not this one. Dog will win it from P10. Then we have Chronicle P2 ruining that 3-second track limits penalty. Quimbulas will finish P3 to make it a double podium for Americans and a double podium for Williams. And also finds the fastest lap with a 32.4, quite clear of everyone else. Then Robin will be shuffled down to P4 with their penalty, and Spen, our winner of our first race, and pole sitter for this race, will have to settle for P5 after their 5-second time penalty is factored in, but looked rapid. Perhaps, I think Spen is still the driver to beat here, though they will be shuffled down the championship order. For the rest of the pack, we have Bananarama, Gali, Sockeye, Peter Ward, and Zhao rounding out the top 10. JMU DNFing there on the last lap, P11 for them. Then we have Chuck and Stam rounding out a quite poor weekend for Ferrari, both not quite finishing, although one of them did get classified. Then we have Martyr P14, Onyx P15, and Stolen Valor P16. Only 9 cars crossing the line under their own power. We have 3 who DNF'd on the last lap. But, 3 drivers not finishing, but classified. That was a wonderful race. I didn't even stop to consider who driver of the day might be. But I gotta say, probably Dog. Obviously, stewards pending, but what a drive from them. Great drive from them. Other pick would probably be Quimbulas. I think made it back to P3 on track, and finished P3 indeed. So it was a great drive from them to recover from the spin. Both Williams drivers having great recoveries. Dog from their original starting position, and Quimbulas from the spin. But that's it. That's the race. That's Saudi Arabia for this week. We'll be back next week for a race in Imola. And I'm quite looking forward to that one. It's a tricky track, old-fashioned, very, very harsh curbs, and very easy to find yourselves with a track limit penalty, very easy to make mistakes when the walls aren't too far away. Only some dirt and gravel separating yourselves from the wall. But anyway, I've been Boof, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Ta-ta for now.